Hello everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be speaking about the Delaware State Quarter, the first state, one of the first state quarters, I believe it's the first, but some of these are going to be worth a good bit more than 25 cents, whether it's something like the Delaware Spitting Horse that we all know about, or something more minor that I also want to teach you to search for. There's a fair amount to go over on this. It could be an error, again, variety, or just conditional rarity, but we'll be covering it all in this video. We'll go to my presentation, get started, and give you all of the important facts. This video is sponsored by Whatnot, a live streaming auctions and shopping app where I regularly sell coins and banknotes of all types, including US, world, errors, varieties, silver, gold, ancients, and more. And don't forget to use my link in the description to get a free $10 off on your first order on anything on the platform. Let's get into the video. So let's talk about the Delaware State Quarter, the very first state in the Union. We see Caesar Rodney's horseback ride, and there's some spitting horse error that we'll talk about a little bit later. You can pause for the moment, but we'll get right into some of the varieties. The first one is going to be a relatively prominent doubled die Obverse. It's seen prominently through the earlobe, right underneath, as a second earlobe protruding a little bit more towards the left of it, but a really interesting variety that you can search for and often isn't that well search for. There's a second one that's a much smaller spread. I think the value is going to reflect that, the prior one being sort of $5 to $15, this one more in the $2 to $10 range, and die markers, a little chip underneath the E and the R. On this one, it's one underneath the F that can be used to identify. Now, there's also going to be a double die reverse. You can see sort of by the leg and the coat, there's going to be some extra sort of shelving right there, right on the left portion. It's a pretty undercovered error, so it's a variety, and it's a good one to search for, but not something that people are paying tons of money for, though anything that's on the reverse as a double die is often a little bit more desired with these state quarters, just because there's a fair amount of the doubled ears. So this one might be in the $5 to $20 range. And then on the Denver Mint quarters, there's also going to be the potential for a doubled ear, sort of similar presentation to what the previous ones looked like, though not as prominent as the first one. In addition, there's a die crack that's pretty well documented and happened on a group of different dies. That's essentially the spitting horse, where there's a die crack that runs prominently from the horse's mouth all the way to the rim of the coin. This one was an eBay sale that sold for like $30. It looks like a really nice uncirculated coin, but there's also, value if you find one that's circulated in your change. Maybe it's Mint State 63, more like maybe in the AU range. Just a really cool coin to be on the lookout for. Then there are conditional rarities. Mint State 69 coin sells for about $12,000. So if you have one that is almost flawless, this is PCGS graded coins, you could consider sending them in there, and you'll break even or make money at the 67 plus range or above, though I would recommend having experience before sending it in. It only needs to be Mint State 68 to get that upper level value on the Denver Mint coins. For the clad proofs, you can send these in, same thing with the silver proofs, though I generally think it's very challenging to get 70 grades, so I'd only recommend doing it for the silver proof if you have a lot of experience doing so. I've made proof 70 Eisenhower S Mint silver, that are worth like $500, but often they're just going to give you proof 69s. So something important to be aware of. There's also this experimental Planchet coin, so some of the errors can be really interesting and have a ton of value. In this case, sold for $5,000 or so, and they were using different Planchets to test out what would be best for the quarters, maybe similar to the Sacagawea material, but it's not super well documented, and that mystery is something collectors pay up for. But some more normal traditional errors. This one, well, actually, I didn't even look at the title. So this is struck off center, but it's also struck on a nickel planchet. So that's why it's extremely rare. I mean, it makes sense that, when the planchet, most of them are going to be quarters. So it's much more likely to fall into the dies normally and get struck. Here with a different size planchet, it doesn't quite make its way in and sells for $1,400. So that one's neat. There's also this triple struck coin. You can see two strikes pretty close together, and then a more prominent one underneath where it didn't eject from the dies, $1,300. I really like that. It's all like the rider is sort of doubled as well. Silhouette, really neat. And then finally, we've got this multi-struck two planchets bonded together, so two different planchets go between the dies, get struck. You can see the force of the strike is major and sort of folds this metal up. $1,800. The 1999 was a year where there were tons of wild things coming out of the mint, especially on the state quarters. So it's interesting to see that and be able to think through some of these errors. There's also, if you like Delaware coins, plenty of coins that are just struck off center by a little bit, not on a nickel planchet that might be worth, $50, $70, something like that. So just something to keep in mind. There's so much to search for. Conditional rarity, the die crack, these more minor double dies. So a lot of fun to be had searching on these and value to be uncovered. Good luck doing so. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like the video, comment, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. And I also have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and some other social media platforms. You can also go to my main channel website, treasuretownYT.com, to learn more about the channel and sort of stay in contact. I also will eventually host all of these videos on coinsmetalscards.com, which will be both news, marketplace, and coin information. I do have the goal of eventually getting pretty much every US coin, date, mint mark, denomination on the channel with a similar video to the one that you just watched, and that will likely all be hosted there. And then I also have treasuretowncoins.com, which is sort of my coin dealing wing, coin dealing only entity that is a little bit less focused on content production. So thank you so much, and I'll look forward to seeing you on some of my other videos. I also have videos that are not just the date, mint mark, denomination recap in this format, so you can check some of those out, and I'll have fun seeing you there.